There's this prototypical structure that makes up 90% of Philadelphia, and it's the row house. Not only does that set up the kind of language for the whole city, but it's one of the most fascinating ways of living there is, and it seems like it's the simplest and most readily repeatable forms of housing in the city, but to me it's got the most innovation built into it. So you'll see in all of our projects we use the kind of typology of the row house on almost every single project, but completely reinvented every time. What's so exciting about a row type space is, from an architecture perspective, is to make it feel like what it isn't. So, because what it is a very thin, narrow, for the most part, in most urban housing, dark, narrow space. So to make it appear not thin, but to make the proportions, make it feel like you're living in this spacious room with light flooding in from all over the place, it really is a treat. Suburbs isn't about any of that. The suburbs is about your own little world and within your own little fence. It's unsustainable in many ways, from an energy perspective, from an environmental perspective, from a social kind of like community perspective. Suburban living has everything to do with how a house is allowed to be built. Zoning laws require you to pull yourself away from the street. It requires you to pull yourself away from your neighbor. It requires you to pull yourself away from your neighbor. In effect, suburban zoning laws isolate houses. Urban zoning laws do the exact opposite.
Which is all about the sustainability side of building environments. Keeping it nice and simple and not bigger than it needs to be, yet using the things we spoke about before as having it feel big enough and comfortable and spacious. And it's about keeping those simple features that allow the architecture to be responsible.